Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be painting up the Lieutenant in Phobos Armor from the Leviathan box set. Now I've assembled up to the point where it would get in the way of painting, so the body's fully assembled onto his base, which is onto the base. His backpack and gun are together and his right arm is separate. And yeah, and here are all the paints I used, minus the oil paints. I forgot to add them in here. And then I primed them with a car primer because you can use it in all temperatures and humidities, although I prefer the color gray. Alright, with Cantor Blue, Calidor Sky, and Temple Guard Blue, we're going to paint his body. So with an airbrush, Cantor Blue, we're going to apply this all over from the bottom to create the dark. Then we're going to paint Calidor Sky from up above to create light and dark, covering like most of the model. And then we're going to do a Temple Guard Blue with a little bit of Calidor Sky, and we're going to apply it on the most raised areas and stuff where the light is. And that's going to be our base layer. So ignore the Calidor Sky. With just Temple Guard Blue, I tried a little experiment, it wasn't worth it. So basically with pure Temple Guard Blue and a fine brush, we're going to apply edge highlight all over the model, on all the plates and such. And yeah. Alright, with Mineral Spirits, French Ultramarine, and Lamp Black, we're going to create a wash and apply it all over the model. So basically, it's going to be just the French Ultramarine with a very small amount of the black to darken it. Then we're going to apply it into Mineral Spirits to create a wash, apply it all over, and then once it's not really dried but like no longer runny, we're going to take a makeup sponge and then rub it on the more raised areas or flat planes and stuff like that, so that the wash is in the recesses, but it did do an overall color change. Alright, with Black Templar Contrast Paint, we're going to apply this into the folds in between the armor. I don't know what these are called, but between the armor plates. Alright, with Corvus Black, Dawnstone, and I don't have it featured here, but Nuln Oil, we're going to do his like leather belts and like pouches and stuff. Alright, so base layer of Corvus Black all over. Then we're going to do a pure layer of Dawnstone on all the edges of, well, basically, yeah, just straight up all the edges that are on the belts and stuff. And then we're going to apply a layer of Nuln Oil all over to sort of blend them together. Then we're going to take a fine brush in Dawnstone again and reapply it on all the more raised areas, or raised edges, which are closer to the light, and stuff like that. And make a few like little scratches here and there on the leather pieces and pouches. Yeah. Alright, with Caliban Green and Lauren Forest. So basically, he has a little grenade there, so layer of Caliban Green, and then Lauren Forest and all the prickly edges. Alright, with XV88, Mournfang Brown, and Agrax Earthshade, we're going to paint his, he has a giant leather belt around him to hold his gun. So basically, we're going to paint the whole thing with XV88. I find reverse highlighting is pretty easy with these tiny things. Then I'm going to take pure Mournfang Brown, I'm going to paint it all throughout the center of the leather strap thing. And yeah, it's already easily highlighted, so that was easy. And then we're going to take Agrax Earthshade and apply it all over to blend the colors together, add some shadow and depth. And also, I'm really beginning to think that they changed the Agrax Earthshade formula or something because it's super glossy for some reason. And then I go back with XV88, and then like I re-highlight the raised edges, and then I do little scratches here and there of it throughout to add some character. Alright, with Gorthor Brown, Cadian Flesh Tone, and Agrax Earthshade, we're going to paint the head and face. So basically, whole thing Gorthor Brown. Then I apply Agrax Earthshade all over. Then I re-highlight 99% of everything with Gorthor Brown. Then I start adding Cadian Flesh Tone mix into the Gorthor Brown and basically re-highlighting everything, doing less and less mass over each additional highlight, and eventually breaking down to full pure Cadian Flesh Tone, doing very thin lines of it on, I assume are good, some raised areas, his eyebrows and stuff like that. But it's not bright enough yet. And then with Kislev Flesh, I mix a little bit of it with the Cadian Flesh Tone and apply very thin lines of it on the most raised and most prominent areas to sort of brighten it up a little bit. And it's so-so. Alright, with Mournfang Brown, Xerxes Purple, Gene Stealer Purple, Emperor's Children, and Pallid Witch Flesh, as well as Agrax Earthshade, which I don't show here. So this is one of the few times you're ever going to see me painting the base. So the base that he's standing on, I'm going to paint the dirt with Mournfang Brown, and once that dries, I'm going to add Agrax Earthshade to add shading to it. Once that is done, I'm then going to paint Xerxes Purple all over the... Oh wait, no. Pallid Witch Flesh to paint the tentacles and stuff, I'm just doing pure. Then Xerxes Purple for the chitin, then layering a Gene Stealer Purple on the more raised areas, covering about half of it, and then thin lines of Emperor's Children all throughout. I kind of actually do this very poorly because of the weird dimensions of the chitin or armor, and so it didn't turn out too well, and I also did it on his right shoulder and arm. Alright, with magenta and lamp black, I made a oil wash with just a little bit of black into the magenta. Unfortunately, I added too much mineral spirits and made it too runny, which just basically means I had to apply a bunch of coats. It should have been way thicker, and it would have saved me some time. But the end result is it really blended together all the purples together and such, and so I just wiped the rest off the excess with a makeup sponge, and it did really well. And it helped blend all the colors together very well. Alright, with Eshin Grey, Dawnstone, and Nuln Oil, I'm going to paint the casing on his gun, essentially. And a few bandages, maybe. So with Eshin Grey, I'm going to apply this all over, and yeah, get it in. And then with Dawnstone, I'm going to highlight all the edges. I forgot to do reverse highlighting. The edges of the casing and stuff like that. Then I apply Nuln Oil all over. And then I re-highlight the thing all over with Dawnstone, but on the most raised areas. And I do like some scratches and marks in between. I don't know, just trying to add something to it. I still haven't figured out exactly how to make these gun casings look better, essentially. But yeah. Alright, so with Ulthuan Grey, I then take a bunch of this and just apply it on his right knee pad to sort of match the box art. However, the box art is half his knee pad, and I did the full. I blanked down that, but well. Kind of ruined the decal I was going to use, but here we go. Alright, I'm going to take Microset, and I'm going to apply 2 decals. I'm only going to show you one. So basically, I take it and apply it onto the decal set, get it soft and wet and pliable, and then apply Microset onto where it's going to be placed, and then push it off to there to get it done. This is always a very difficult thing to do. This has always been hard to do using Microset because I can't just dunk the decal in it like I do with water. But after a bunch of pushing and prodding, eventually gets done very well. And I put a gold ultramarine mark on his knee. So, alright. With AK Interactive Ultramatte Varnish, we're going to apply this all over the model, and around 2 coats of it where the decals are. And this is after the decals have completely dried, like a hair dryer helps dry them, solidify them in, yeah. Alright, with Retributor Armor, Liberator Gold, and Sycorax Bronze, we're going to paint the gold and brass. So he has his shoulder pad, he has this little emblem he has, and a few skulls throughout. So base layer, Retributor Armor, cover the top parts with Liberator Gold on the shoulder pad. We're just painting the more raised areas with Liberator Gold, and then Sycorax Bronze on the very most raised areas, like a drop on some of the emblems and stuff, and fine edges on the shoulder pad. Unfortunately, all the colors seem to look the same, and there's only small, subtle, noticeable changes in the color pattern and stuff, so like it's somewhat there, but it's very hard to tell. So alright, with Castellax Bronze, I'm going to take a very fine brush and tip, and then just apply this into like the golden skulls. I'm going to apply it into their eyes, some into the edges and stuff to add shadow, and then for a shoulder pad in the underside in some areas, just blend it in, and yeah. Alright, with Iron Warriors, we're going to use this as the base coat for all the silver metal, and we'll apply this on all his grenades, his knives, his backpack, his gun barrel, and stuff like that. Alright, with Duraluminum and Nuln Oil, we are going to do the highlights. So, Duraluminum is just a bright silver that doesn't suck, because GW silver is not the best. So, we're going to start off with a layer of Duraluminum on for the blades, all the edges of the blades, and the center folds of the blades. I don't know how to describe it. The grenades is just going to paint the edges and raised areas and stuff with the gun and stuff. And backpack, we're going to paint the edges and top parts and stuff. Then we're going to apply Nuln Oil all over. It's going to add shadow and depth. Then with a very fine brush, we're going to paint the very fine edges of all the blades, and we're going to do like little scrapes here and there with some mixed success. I need to find a way how to do better like scratches. I need to figure that one out. And then the rest of the silver is just painted onto the most raised areas or edges on his guns and stuff. And that's it. Alright, with Skeleton Horde contrast in Guilliman Flesh, we're going to paint weathering, essentially. So, I'm going to water it down a bit, and so I'm going to basically have to place 2 coats on the gun barrels of Skeleton Horde contrast to add a yellowing effect, around 2 coats or so, 1 coat towards the back end, and then a second coat halfway through to show a process of a yellowing. And then with Guilliman Flesh, I'm going to apply it onto edges or area of the knives to show like dried blood, around 2 coats of this randomly. There's no real set way, it's just like add some randomness or some dried blood here and there, and then of course reddening onto the edge of the gun barrels as well. I'm gonna have to apply a couple coats because I watered it down a bit. And with Blood for the Blood God, I'm going to apply this onto the edges of a lot of his blades, especially the one that has blood molded onto the model. I then assemble the model, and then it is done. Still skip the base. So, and it is done. Overall, man, the Space Marines have so many paints and colors, and the Tyranids are so fast to paint. It's with such a funny contrast. I'm gonna have to speed this up though. So as for him, he actually has a very nice pose, a nice cool pose. I really like the Tyranid armor applied to his actual armor on his shoulder pad and stuff. That's actually pretty cool. It came out really well. The strap and leathers and stuff look really, really good. Interesting to have black pouches, because normally they're just a dark leather of sorts. I know between chapters they have some different colors here and there. A few things I did skip. For the Tyranid, there are a few things I did on it. I changed. I didn't show because I'm still practicing on it, but there are future models that'll have that color scheme and stuff, so I'll get to that in due time. He has like this control pad on his left arm. I skipped that. It's just some random colors, whatever buttons you want, here and there. And yeah. And I mean, he looks cool. I don't know how effective he'll be as a Lieutenant Phobos. I wonder if he's going to end up being just like, does anyone remember from the, the Indominus box set, that Necron single character with a gun? I can't even remember its name. It never came out as a model really kit afterwards. It's just a guy with a better gun as a character. Disappeared entirely from the range after that. So, I don't even remember what he was called. But, I mean, he's a very cool model and stuff, but, like, they have so many captains and lieutenants and stuff, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so, yeah, God help the balanced team on all those data sheets. But, alright, as far as the model goes, he's pretty cool. As far as rating goes, the base, the one he's standing on, is good, but the surrounding area, there's not much detail I can think of. Did some stuff with pigment powder and stuff to add more to it, but the base doesn't detract from the rest of the model, but it doesn't really add anything. His armor, I really like what he did with the chitin on his stuff, on his shoulders. Really cool. The decals came out really well. You know, this is actually the first Ultramarine I've ever painted like a true blue armor, and actually the blue is pretty nice. It looks pretty cool, actually. Yeah. I'm going to go with 8 out of 10. I can't say it's a 9. The knives turned out pretty cool. They have a lot of character of their own, but meh. The head and the skin, I don't know. Didn't seem to come out too well. Or I've done better before, but I cannot wrap my head around his random scars that he has over it. Really threw me off. Apart from that, his gun is... the casing is so-so. But the burn marks on it and stuff where the weathering I did on it, it looks good. The black looks good. The metal looks very nice because high contrast, like a dark metal, and then the bright silver metal. Because the pieces are so small, the contrast of colors is better to be shown. Yeah, it's a definite 8 out of 10. Could have been a 9 out of 10. It's subjective, but maybe the base or stuff. I ordered some stuff to help build up my bases from this point on, if they're worth it. Yeah. So, all right. Moving on. So that's the end of the video. So like the video if you like the video, comment if you want to comment, share if you want to share it, and more to come. Hopefully sooner. I need to start picking these up. I've just been busy with life. All right then, and see you all again.